Since 1833, Canada and the US have good relationship towards trade and being military allies. Also, the two countries share the longest border in the world. For decades, the US relied on its energy supply on Canadian oil because it's reliable, abundant, and inexpensive. The two countries work together on climate change, border security, and in the drug crisis. Even though Americans have few allies in the world, Canadians are the closest ally in reality, which is based on friendship and deep-rooted common interests. Two countries are stronger, more prosperous, and safer when they work together. But this long-lived relationship is about to change soon. Donald Trump made a decisive victory and historic return to the White House after winning the 2024 US election. He has made history by being the oldest president of the US as well. Donald Trump has been convicted many times for dozens of charges, including falsifying documents, federal and state charges relating to his efforts to overturn his defeat by removing documents from the White House. Still, he managed to win the election. He is the first American president formally charged with a crime. As soon as he won the election, he made a remark about Canada. Canada would be the USA's 51st state. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau fired back at Donald Trump's statement, saying there is not a snowball's chance in hell that would ever happen. And recently, Trump announced a 25% additional tariff on Canadian goods except energy, which would be the levied at 10%. Also 25% tariff on Mexico imports and 10% on Chinese exports. Main reasons for raising tariffs are illegal migrants crossing the US-Canada border to the US and fentanyl flowing to the US from Canada. This is not proven, as the amount of fentanyl caught going from Canada to the US is about 1% of the entire fentanyl available in the US. US accusations of dumping and subsidies of lumber have been addressed by Canada in many areas such as softwood lumber, printing papers, aerospace industry. Yet they emerge from time to time, and Canada has taken the US to the World Trade Organization and won some of these cases. Suggested 25% tariff on softwood lumber products from Canada would be in addition to 14% duty rate already in place, meaning that the overall effective Canadian lumber tariffs will rise to nearly 40%. Additionally, the US dollar enjoys the world predominant reserve currency status with 63% of global share. This generates the demand for the US dollar for trade and other purposes, including reserve purposes. That creates higher value for the US dollar, make US goods more expensive relative to Canadian or other country goods. Nonetheless, if there's a genuine concern on issues such as dumping and artificial devaluation of currency, tariffs are justified, but this is not such a case. The US always wants to be the superpower. A few days ago, Playboy Donald Trump declared himself as the king. This clearly shows his low mentality. At the same time, he was talking about regaining the Panama Canal control and owning Greenland after showing renewed interest in acquiring the autonomous Danish territory in recent weeks. His comments came after the Danish Prime Minister insisted that Greenland was not for sale in a fiery phone call with Donald Trump last week. Actually, his senior advisor, billionaire Elon Musk, is the one running the US administration for Trump. After the US President's declaration of increase in tariff, the Canadian Prime Minister's reaction was bold and fearless. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau responded back saying Canada will respond to Donald Trump's tariffs with 20% tariffs on 155 billion of US goods. A poll suggests that 70% Canadians support retaliatory tariffs. The majority of the countries responded to tariffs in negative way. The European Union has a range of options for how it can respond to the steep impending US tariffs on its steel and aluminium exports. Many commercial banks, including some of the biggest US banks such as JP Morgan Chase, said this US tariff impose could be just a negotiating tactic of the Trump administration. But that's not the case, as Donald Trump said on February 24th, tariffs are going forward on time, on schedule. Actually, Trump's intentions are very clear. He knows about our natural resources and US would love to have them. Trump thought he could pressure Canada into submission with aggressive behavior. About his 51st state remarks, Canadians have become outrageous and united like never before. Canada is an independent nation and its citizens are very proud of being Canadians. We will stand up for Canada forever, and our independence is extremely important to us. Canada is the best country in the world in so many ways, especially saving lives and providing stability to those who are fleeing persecution with no hope of relief. Canada's big heart supported many refugees for almost 1.5 centuries. On the surface, we Canadians seem like pretty cool people, but we are strong-minded and not the type to back down. We are polite, helpful, and kind, but when things are tougher, we stand tall in those dark hours. We Canadians are on the same page regardless of our political differences, including our party leaders. Mr. US President, hear me out. We used to love our friendship with the US. However, we have not started this tariff war. You did, but we are not going to kneel down in front of you. You may not know, but we know by heart patriotism is a virtue, so we are boycotting American products already. We know that no one is going to win from this war, but as proud Canadians, we are going to use our alternatives. We can sell our oil to any country in the world. We can put high retaliate tariffs on your products. So take your hands off Canada. If not, you would see what's going to happen to the US economy, especially your energy sector. Again, we Canadians are not scared of bullies.
Oh, yeah.